Today is Equal Pay Day, a day meant to symbolize the continued pay gap between men and women in the U.S. Yep, it's 2021, and women are still being paid less than men for doing the same jobs. Well, according to the National Women's Law Center, a 20-year-old woman just starting full-time, year-round work stands to lose more than $400,000 over a 40-year career compared to her male counterparts. So Sarah Ewall-Wice is here to discuss this. That's like the price of a house. If people sort of need to something concrete, you could pay off your house or you could not pay off your house. So Equal Pay Day is also something else. It's symbolic, but it's also something more specific. What exactly is Equal Pay Day?
Right, so this is a public awareness campaign that's been going on for a couple of decades, but essentially what it is the time a woman would have to work into the following year to earn what a man earned the year before. So essentially, on average, we would have had to work through all of last year into March 24th, 2021 to earn what a man made in 2020. And you mentioned the cost of a house, $400,000. I'm going to give you some numbers that are probably going to be a little more eye-popping for you, because this also is disproportionately impacting women of color. So we know white women are making 79 cents on the dollar, Asian women are making 90 cents on the dollar. For black women, that is 62 cents on the dollar, and for Hispanic women, that is 54 cents on the dollar. So when you're looking at the 40-year career for a black woman, they're making $941,000 less over the course of that career. For Hispanic women, this is an eye-popping number. It's $1.1 million.
Eyes are popping. And here's the thing. We know that this pandemic in particular has had a disproportionate effect on women. They're the ones losing their jobs. And in some cases, when we're talking about businesses closing, those jobs may not come back. Can we talk about how the pandemic has impacted the pay gap?
Sure. So, I mean, we already know that 55 million women in 2019 earned $545 billion less than men that year. And now we have women in 2020 who have left the workforce. It's going to take a long time to get them back into the workforce to earn back some of that money and then some. Nearly 3 million women have left the workforce since the pandemic began. You mentioned it's impacting women in a number of sectors. Women are overrepresented in the jobs we've lost in 2020 because of the pandemic. They're disproportionately represented as childcare workers, as educators. They're also in the hospitality industry. They're the hotel workers and the restaurant workers who have been laid off or furloughed over the course of the past year. Something to keep in mind on top of the jobs we've lost that have disproportionately impacted women, women are also overrepresented in frontline workers. 2 out of 3 frontline workers are women. We have census data that was released this week that shows that they're also being paid less than their male counterparts, including nurses, teachers, cashiers, and other retail workers who've had to stay on the job throughout the pandemic.
So we know that there are a number of different events taking place around the country to mark this, but marking is one thing. I think everyone wants to see some sort of significant change. The House Reform Committee is holding a hybrid hearing later on this morning on Equal Pay Day. Is there any legislation that is out there that is aimed at closing this gap?
Yes, there is, and they will be looking at that. It's one of several pieces of legislation that'll be a focus in today's hearing. It's called the Paycheck Fairness Act. It basically looks at practices already on the books and strengthens those, but it also limits what employers can use as excuses in terms of the pay discrepancies between men and women on the job. It makes it unlawful for employers to make workers sign a waiver so they can't disclose their pay. One of the things advocates say that will help close the pay gap is an open conversation about it. So making sure that workers are allowed to disclose how much they're earning next to male counterparts is something that they can highlight to help do this. And another thing that it includes includes grants to help women and girls learn to negotiate through the Department of Labor. And this is something that many women have supported, many men have supported on Capitol Hill. It is something also that the Biden administration has supported, including the president, while he was campaigning back in 2019 and 2020.
Very interesting stuff. Sarah, thank you very much.